for the fire chief.
I've got a couple.
Yes, sir.
Your engines on this resource list that you provided, engine 33 is a 2010. Engine
2010, yes, sir.
Yeah, engine 49 is a 2018, and then the reserve engine 1 is a 1998. That's about a 16-year-old average there between the three. Then the brush trucks are 2006, 2012, and 2002. That's about an 18-year-old average.
So
when we have equipment that we're operating roads on, the older the equipment is, the more likely it is to break down. That means for us, we don't get to finish the road like we want to that
Absolutely.
day. We have to wait for repairs. But if you're trying to get to a fire, trying to put a fire out, that's a little bit more serious. When I look at that, and then I look at your margin anticipated to be at 0.1% for next year, and that assumes that things like your insurance costs year over year are projected to be flat, I would guess Mr. Hale would probably say that insurance costs aren't normally flat. A lot of the expenses on last year's budget and on this year's budget, just they look flat, or they are flat, and payroll is 86% of your budget.
absolutely it is.
I have some very, very strong concerns that payroll is 86% of your budget when the next highest ESV in the county is at 71% as far as payroll is a percentage of budget, especially when your equipment is as old as it is. I understand that growth is coming, but we know very well that growth happens before you collect the taxes for said growth. There's always a lag of a few years. If there weren't, this county wouldn't be in the predicament that it's in when it comes for budget time every year. This is a tough situation because how do you pay for new equipment? How do you pay for the things that you have to do when your margin is 0.1%, payroll is 86%, and your equipment is 16 to 18 years old on average?
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple things I'll call to is there's a note on the resource list that says we are in the build process of a Spartan engine. We started that process back in December, and I put it on pause because of this. The plan for that Spartan engine is to replace engine 33. So that brand new engine would go to the Tarrant County side, replacing engine 33, which is a 2010, which would remove my 1998, which we would liquidate. 2010 becomes your next reserve engine. We have a 2024, 2025 engine that's now in Parker County. So that eliminates the issue there with my concerns over an engine. Engine 49 is a 2018. The loan payoff on that will occur next year or the year after. And the reason there's some fluctuation in that is because I don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. The anticipation was next budget year, the 2018 engine would be paid off, and then we would begin the process of trying to purchase another truck for that area.
What do you still owe the total? You got 2 years left?
Yes, sir. 86,000.
80?
86,000. Yes, sir. And there is a truck listed on here as Squad 49. That's a 2022 mini pumper. It's got a 1,500 GPM pump, which is the exact same capacity pump that's on my tanker pumper. That's 1,750 gallons. I understand it's only 300 gallons, right? But it is an engine. It operates the same way. Brush trucks, we have applied for the Forest Service for a grant for that. We are waiting on that. I wish I had a brand new brush truck. Trust me, I really do. And that's why I've asked Tarrant County in their considerations in the future, hey, can you get me a new brush truck for the Tarrant County side? Our oldest brush truck, which is the 2006, is in Tarrant County, and the newest, which is the 2012, is in Parker County.
So does Tarrant County supply you with equipment?
They currently do not. Most agencies that they provide funding to, they do provide equipment to them, yes, sir.
So they just provide you with money?
Correct.
And you got to buy the equipment?
Previously, what they did was they said, hey, this is our brush truck. Hey, this is our tankers that we provide. We're going to provide this to you. You operate it in the county area only. It goes mutual aid as needed.
Right.
And we're responsible for that. Now, they could also tell me no, and I'm very aware of that. And that's okay if they do. We'll work through that. That's why, as I'd mentioned, my goal is to purchase that Spartan pumper for the Tarrant County
How do you work
side.
through that if Tarrant County is not going to participate?
tells me no as far as replacement
Right.
apparatus, we're going to purchase that Spartan pumper
Okay.
How?
through the payoff of the engine 49, the 2018.
But help me understand this.
Yeah.
Your margin is like $9,000. You
Absolutely.
owe 86.
Right. So we've
How
got
much is the Spartan supposed to cost?
about 900,000.
Okay. And so
So the 2018 pays
those
off.
numbers don't quite.
The
match
2018 pays off between next year, depending upon how things go out this year, next year. The 2022 mini pumper will pay off next year.
Okay.
It was just purchased 2 years ago. Our approximate payments every year for apparatus is about $67,000. Our administration vehicles are included in that as well, and those will be paid off in the next 2 years. So that funding will be applied to the payment cost of replacing that truck. And you're talking about personnel and the costs on that. Statistically, the average, you're 80 to 85% for personnel cost in most entities across the board when it looks at budgets. I understand that you have a district that's got 71%, but I'm sure their budget's quite a bit larger than what
ESD1
ours.
is 61%, ESD8 is 71%, ESD3 is 41%, ESD7 is 28%, and ESD6 is 26%.
And my question to you on that is are the majority of those departments providing 24-hour coverage with 2 persons per shift?
Right. I'm not trying to argue the specifics of that. What I'm trying to say is I don't understand how you pay for new equipment when your expected margin with a lot of your expenses projected as flat in a time when no expenses are flat is 0.1%.
Okay.
That's financially,
So since
that's
I've
pretty
been
nerve-wracking.
So
to be
since
real
I've been the
honest.
chief, I've replaced every stick of hose in our department. I've replaced every single thing as far as thermal imaging cameras, nozzles, hose. The only thing I've not touched is extrication equipment. It's $25,000 a piece. And every single year, we have found in the budget ways to do that. Whether that's through a grant, whether that's through funds in the budget, whether I use that slush fund of $50,000 in the budget, we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
You can walk into my station today and look at equipment.
But I want to be sure we stick to the specifics of Commissioner Holt's discussion on the truck and how you expect to pay for that. I appreciate the replacement of the apparatus, but if you would address how you can address that concern that Commissioner Holt just gave, specifically to the truck, and how you expect to pay for that.
I mean, I'm trying to correctly understand you. I see your concern is the 0.1 margin, right? That's your issue, right?
Yeah, my concern is your equipment is old and your margin is small.
Okay.
And you're growing, but the revenues from that growth always lag by a couple of years. So
Sure.
if you do grow quite a bit, if Reno does de-annex,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden a lot of subdivisions pop up, let's say there's subdivisions that generate a high number of calls. You know, if you have a few mobile home based subdivisions, your call volume is going to go up significantly without the tax basis to support it.
So-
This seems very precarious.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. I hope you look at the equipment in Reno is actually not old. You have a 2018 pumper and a 2012 brush truck. The 2002 is currently a build-out. It was a grant given to us by the Forest Service as an extra resource. We have an engine and a brush truck that are both, the oldest is 12 years old and the other is approximately, 7 years now. We're already in the process of looking at how to replace those because they're getting ready to be paid off. And if Tarrant County decides to give us a tanker over there, fantastic. I've already got a plan to replace the 2010 that's there. That 2010 now goes to reserves. The average expectancy on an engine, they want you to replace it every 10 years, but the majority of agencies within this country don't have the funding to do that.
Yeah, we can't depend on Tarrant County.
Exactly, you're right, and that's what I'm not doing. That's why I said that's a fantastic option. That's a great resource.
Right, as long as you're aware of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tarrant County is not a question in this. You guys have got to see it from the big picture. And I understand your concerns over the numbers of 0.1%, but like Pelican Bay contributes in to the cost of funding in Reno. They pay together. That's why it's
How much does Pelican Bay pay?
$220,000, and we're currently in contract negotiations because our contracts are 2 to 3 years apiece in Pelican Bay, and they go up every year. Over the last 3 years, they've gone up $40,000 a year.
How much does Tarrant County pay you?
$667,000, which includes personnel costs, and that began in 2024.
Okay, but that revenue is not being used for the services in Parker County.
That is correct.
So this, at the end of the day, what we're looking at here, if this goes to an election, it passes, the revenue from Tarrant County really shouldn't, is not to be counted, nor sales tax, because then that's a separate election in itself. So really in the city of Reno, regardless whether they disincorporate or not, that $312,000
$303,000 currently.
Okay, that revenue will go away regardless, and so then you're left with the 10-cent tax